Let's return to French filmmaker Luc Besson, who directed Leon the Professional and The Fifth Element, and produced Taken, 3 films I've reviewed before. La Femme Nikita was a major cult hit for Besson in 1990, but sadly, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as those other films. It's overall a rather unconvincing, dreary film with poor structure. Anne Paralade stars as Nikita, a delinquent who is sentenced to life imprisonment after murdering a policeman, but is recruited as an assassin for the French government. What this film really has trouble with is justification for what's going on and a clear sense of time. The government fakes Nikita's death so that she can train and work for them under a new identity, and is supervised by an agent named Bob, played with dignity and quiet intensity by Checky Cario. Bob is enamored with Nikita's sass and rebellious attitude during training, and this protective affection Bob has for Nikita forms the basis of a love triangle later in the film between Nikita, Bob, and her oblivious lover Marco. But Bob's superiors tell him that Nikita has just 2 weeks to improve before she is cast out of the program. Nikita is progressing slowly, is uncooperative and difficult with her teachers, and ends up biting and knocking out her karate instructor. The time frame is emphasized by Nikita mentioning that her 20th birthday is coming up. Nikita taking her training more seriously and becoming a better student is an objective and conflict that the film appears to be setting up, and it's implied that if she doesn't improve, she will be executed. But the narrative suddenly jumps forward several years to when Nikita is nearly 23, with no visual indication of the leap forward, and Bob is praising her for her performance over all these years of training. Nikita's first mission is also the final test in her training. She passes and is thus released and allowed to work professionally as an assassin. But this mission isn't a last-ditch attempt to keep Nikita in the program, which the film appeared to be building up to. It does demonstrate that she can work effectively in the field, but it comes after this huge jump in time, meaning that Nikita's need to prove herself to Bob's superiors or be expelled and killed is resolved off-screen. This is a plot point that La Femme Nikita fumbles with and ultimately disarms with a disorienting time jump. The narrative also jumps forward several months to show Nikita's life with Marco, but this transition is smoother and more artfully done. By the way, the training montage is scored with some inappropriately cheerful music. As for justification, I want to know who Nikita is assigned to assassinate and why. Since she is an assassin for the French government, the people she kills are presumably political enemies, but we know absolutely nothing about them. If Nikita and the audience knew who her targets were, then there would have been a greater impression of Nikita killing people and not plot accessories, and her desire to no longer be an assassin would have had more weight. As it is, Nikita becomes aware that her job is distracting her from her romance with Marco, and her happy life with Marco makes her realize how precious other lives are, but this revelation is somewhat vague, and again would have been more resonant if an actual equivalence had been made between her and her targets. The clincher that drives Nikita to quit wet work is the fact that it's stressful and demanding, and a document theft mission goes awry in a confusingly chaotic way, with many more deaths than planned. While it is sometimes the case that we give something up because it turns difficult, this manner of changing heart is relatable but not very interesting. The lack of detail on who Nikita is killing and why lessens the impact of the drama and weakens the impact of some of the plot points, and this makes it harder to invest ourselves in her life. I mentioned that La Femme Nikita is not a very convincing film. Despite its efforts as a character-based thriller, the film has a certain corniness to it that I don't think was intentional. Setting aside the sadistic ending of Nikita's initial escape attempt, the training sequences seem too light-hearted and saccharine, and the old lady's lessons on how to use your femininity as a weapon don't go anywhere, unless they enabled her to adapt more easily to her cover life with Marco. The police also seem far too trigger-happy and reckless as they proceed to demolish a pharmacy and a kitchen with gunfire to get at suspects. Nikita's first mission also has her shoot 3 people while undisguised in a restaurant full of witnesses. There's no reason why Nikita shouldn't be a wanted woman all over the news after that, even if the government is able to hush up the police and media to protect their agents. And if that's so, why the police presence trying to kill her? A fair portion of La Femme Nikita feels rather contrived and unrealistic, and padded, and a lack of verisimilitude is something I never like to see in movies. Despite all these flaws, I don't think this is that bad of a movie. The performances are strong, especially from Paralad, who juggles feisty anger and warm gentleness very skillfully. She visibly matures from an anarchic brat to a kind and more self-disciplined woman, and this is partly due to her romance with Marco. This relationship is quite heartening and pleasant to watch, even if it lacks forward momentum, with their disagreements and Marco's annoyance about Nikita's unwillingness to talk going back and forth several times. I like the grungy yet elegant cinematography, and Jean Reno is cool but underused as the ruthless cleaner. There are also some cool moments, including Nikita's escape attempt, her first mission, stupid though it is when you think about it, and the cleaner's cold, sardonic badassery. La Femme Nikita left me kind of cold. Its strengths, which include a knockout performance from Paralad and intriguing turns from Reno and Cario, a gorgeous cinematography, and decent action, are let down by major flaws in editing, detail, and plausibility. The plot isn't very engaging for those reasons. I didn't really like La Femme Nikita, which earns 3 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.